favor. Greetings, my dear friends. Let me tell you something very important. We just received information from some of our Russian-speaking, English-speaking light family that supposedly Almine's Russian office either was closed down or is about to close down. Both of those information are not correct. Team Almine Russia's official legal name is MUDROSTьь Almine. It's in Russian. English translation, Almine's Wisdom, and it's limited liability company that was established by Almine personally in 2012. And for legal reasons, she asked me to take responsibility for it as a chief executive officer. I consented because it was necessary, first of all, to legally support Almine's 7 subsidiaries in Russia. She provided products and services for purchase and had to be legalized. Also, Almine decided to translate her books and other materials into Russian on the ongoing basis, and we need legal basis to have right to sell it in Russia. Initially, there was an idea of Almine working through already existing organizations in Moscow, already existing publishing companies, but she made decision to establish a company of her own. As we all can understand, it was done for obvious reasons. Later in 2016, Almine asked Team Almine Russia to be bilingual. She established in Russia the institutes that teach Almine's work in both languages, English and Russian. She called it the Institute of Physical Mastery. She also asked me to provide our international light family with sound alchemy support by recording personal and public sound elixirs. Both of those initiatives were not my personal original ideas. Now it clearly answers the question why we still keep working internationally in the area of the institutes and sound alchemy. I never received any notifications from Almine or from her authorized representatives with clear message that those mandates were revoked and that I'm no longer responsible for those 2 areas of work. So for clearly obvious reasons, I kept working in those areas up to this day, unless I receive a clear message from Almine herself personally or her authorized agent that those mandates are now revoked. I understand that all training and activations that I receive from Almine in the area of sound alchemy cannot be revoked, as well as Belospata initiations cannot be revoked. But I can provide Belospata as an authorized officer of Almine's Russian company. But if there will be no company anymore, then I can still practice Belospata, but privately on an individual basis. Currently, we offer Belospata as well as sound alchemy and personal consultations as a part of our work at Almine's Russian office, because currently MUDROST Almine LLC in Russia is still in good status with 2 shareholders, Almine 51%, myself 49%, and I personally don't see any legal reasons to close down the company. The company doesn't have any legal issues. We are regular by our bills, our taxes, so closing the company was never in our plans for an observable future, just because there are not clear reasons for that. Also, if hypothetically I would consider closing down the company, I cannot do it by myself. First of all, Almine is the majority shareholder, and it can be done only if it's her personal decision. And what we currently deal with was first thing in the middle of July, the big scandal was initiated by so-called Original Ones board, and then a few weeks later, again, I don't know why, still publicly it was announced that Almine's Russian office is a fake organization that supposedly distorts Almine's truth with no clear evidence. I request, please, give me at least 1 line from Almine's work and a line from Team Almine's Russia content that directly contradicts to Almine's line. And I'll be more than happy to delete the corresponding video or post in a Telegram group or wherever. We present Almine's work to the best of our understanding of the work. And growing in understanding is a work in progress. For example, according to Almine, there are at least 99 layers of revelation for Kivesta, Belospata, and other bodies of information. And no one can claim that we grasped it all. It's work in progress, and we all understand that it's literally impossible to point right and wrong here. We don't teach, we learn together. We just facilitate learning events. And together we learn, and we learn how to learn. It always was and still is very experimental. There are basic principles, and we hold them dearly in high esteem, and there's absolutely no reason for us to consciously and deliberately distort the truth. And only then, after going public with lies and slander, 1 week past the scandal, they started discussion about the law, lawyers, and so on, after violating the law, at least the law of the Russian Federation. Almine's organization in Russia is not a foreign business. It's 100% a Russia-based organization with foreign participation. So it's different from McDonald's and other foreign businesses that left Russia for the reason of Russia-Ukraine crisis. The authors of this publication and other anti-Team Almine Russia publications are clearly legally literate, according to conclusions of an attorney that we work with in Russia, let alone being extremely unethical and unprofessional in their behavior. If I may remind our most respected audience how those things are being done among normal, sane, civilized people. First, business partners or authorized representatives of both organizations make all necessary efforts to sort things out among themselves. If they're not able to do it themselves, then next step, they involve legal institutions, attorneys, courts, etc. And then after completion of legal procedures and final court decision, they may go public if they find it appropriate. What we have here, first we went public with accusatory statements, which accusers did even slightly bother to provide detailed proofs to their statements. What I can read is as if Almine's Russian office is accused of performing its regular job description, particularly my personal job description as its general manager, according to the guidelines received directly from Almine, the owner of the company. And after Almine went into seclusion in 2019, her last guideline was that now the office became a matter of my personal, full, 100% responsibility. There was no such thing as Original One's nonprofit foundation in 2019. And Spiritual Journeys LLC, US-based organization, was about to close down. Actually, Almine's Russian office took partial financial responsibility for keeping some of the subscription-based services going, such as Box.com, Vimeo account, and others, when everything was literally falling apart. If you remember the end of 2019. But the Russian office remained untouched, and we kept doing our work, serving both Russian and English-speaking light families. And Tina kept working with the oils. Only us and Tina remained. And those who lived through those years remember those times. Then COVID, and we stayed together internationally, no matter what happened. And here we suddenly got all of those accusations, but accusations are really not a problem by itself. My question is to Almine and or to her agent, if Almine chooses to work through an authorized agent. Some of our light family members pointed me to the recent post at Original One's website about plans of closing down the Russian office. I don't want to discuss the level of professionalism here. It was already enough said. But again, in a civilized world, before making such a decision, everything starts with the meeting of the board. In our Russian organization, MUDROST Almine LLC, the board consists of 2 participants, Almine and myself. There are no other participants listed in this organization, including legal entities such as Spiritual Journeys or Original One's Trust or Original One's Foundation, because Almine participates here in Russia, in MUDROST Almine LLC. She participates not as Spiritual Journeys LLC, but as a private individual. So it technically means that Spiritual Journeys and Original One's Foundation cannot legally participate in decision-making in business matters of the company where they are not listed as shareholders or co-owners or participants of any kind. To close down a Russian organization, Almine's Russian office, in particular in this situation, just from writings on the pages of USA-based organization's website is a very interesting idea, especially when this particular organization is not in any kind of business relationships with MUDROST Almine LLC Russia. The only legal possibility to close down Almine's Russian office is either Almine's personal participation in a board meeting with me regarding dismantling a business, closing down an organization, making signatures, all necessary documents must be signed, or it can be her personal agent, authorized by a very specific kind of power of attorney. It's a general power of attorney to represent Almine's personal matters, not spiritual journeys matters, not Regional Life Foundation matters, but her personal life matters. Now, for the reasons that are obvious for everyone listening to this podcast. As an owner of her Russian organization, Almine can close it down without explanation of the reasons to the other minority shareholders, which is only myself in this case. As majority, she can do it by her own sole decision, by herself, or through her authorized agent, if she chooses so. We have an attorney in Russia who is prepared for all necessary legal interaction with Almine or her authorized agent. I'm currently in the United States and will not be able to travel to Russia until the next summer because I work at school and I cannot travel before the next summer school break. But we have a general power attorney holder in Russia who is authorized to act on the behalf of myself as a chief executive officer in full capacity, including the power signature. So she can coordinate this with Almine or her authorized agent. Her name is Nadezhda Achkasova. Her phone number is +7 916 566 1880. The legal address of MUDROST Almine LLC is Moscow region, city of Podolsk, Podolskikh Kursantov Street, building 4, apartment 6, postal code 142105. Please use this address for further legal correspondence and Nadezhda's phone number for messaging. She also uses WhatsApp and Telegram. She'll coordinate working connection with our attorney for all necessary legal procedures associated with dismantling process. I promise that this video is really the last one on this topic because I personally am no longer involved in the legal matters associated with copyright issues, legitimacy of our operations, and all our related legal matters. Guys, I'm not a lawyer. Let the professionals do their job. Please no longer try to involve me in those sorts of discussions. If any of you would ever try to engage me in such communications after this warning, it will be my last communication with you. My love is tough. You will cross the red line and will no longer be on speaking terms. I highly respect myself and my personal boundaries. If you want to remain my friend, please respect me as I respect myself. The only matters I'm dealing with are personal assistance, personal consultations. I'm more than happy and willing to assist you with your personal issues, spiritual, emotional, physical, any issues, currently considering our current situation of healing the rift between Russian and English-speaking Light families. All my personal consultations for you will be completely free of charge. They may be limited by time. Perhaps we'll break them into several phone calls. I work at school. I'm not available anytime. But we are passionately goal-oriented, and we'll never leave you alone until we will see your issue completely resolved. Also, we continue to supply you with videos and sound alchemy. We keep our team, Almine Russia, Russian language and English language web stores going. May I gently remind you that both stores are Almine owned until she decides otherwise, until the Russian office is not closed. It will work in full capacity as it worked before, no matter what. We either work or don't work. And logically, we will not work as a business after our closure. So there will be nothing for sale at all. There's a realistic possibility to keep our learning center and the institutes and sound alchemy going and not being a business. For example, I have a regular full-time job outside of Almine's office. I don't draw any salary from the office, from Almine's office, for myself. All that I currently do for the office and for our international family is purely my labor of love. I support myself financially, or literally, I am my own sponsor. To be honest with you, what I do and what our team is doing, I have a moral barrier to call it a business. In 1930s, in the former Soviet Union, some people were willing to be imprisoned and even sentenced to death for distributing spiritual truth. But they did it anyway because they couldn't live otherwise. The concept of charging people for healings and consultations became familiar to me when my path crossed with New Age movement. I was relatively satisfied with explanations that there's such a thing as energy exchange, and absolutely don't object if some people still charge for healings and other light works. We have price tags by web stores, and as I said, there are still ALMINs, and I don't take money for sound elixirs, for personal consultation, for any products. The money is ALMINs, even if part of it goes back into business, into office maintenance. It's ALMINs anyway, because organization is ALMINs, but it must be maintained. Bills must be paid, of course. We'll understand that. But in the scenario of dismissing the Russian office, we'll keep doing what we are doing, but only completely free of charge, because we'll be no longer bound by organizational responsibilities. We don't want clients, we want friends. And if you want to continue to be our friend no matter what, regardless of the future of our organization, you know my personal contact information, and you can call, text me anytime. But as I already said, only please no questions of the legal nature. If you're interested in those kinds of answers, I can connect you with our lawyer, and he will answer all of those questions. But I am not a lawyer, and I don't know those answers. If you need assistance, personal spiritual support, personal spiritual friendship, you are more than welcome into my life to stay here forever, or as long as you want to stay. We build a network, a light family community of independent, self-sufficient professionals whose lives are totally dedicated to conscious living and mastery, making Godhood their lifestyle. We'll always have something to talk about, perhaps to do something together, to make all kinds of thriving personal or professional connections. The ALMIN Telegram group is not really Team ALMIN Russia's group, although we post there about our life, our events, our news, but anyone can do absolutely the same. There's no censure, no dictatorship, no control here. The only one request is please restrain yourself from aggression. Aggressors will be deleted without warning. We welcome diversity of opinions. We don't have to completely agree on everything. Healing sessions, personal consultation, you may choose to do it for free or charge for it. Bilaspatam masters can offer their sessions, as well as Kivesta or rune masters. It was originally intended as an alternative to the well-known online network LinkedIn. I know that there are some HR professionals in our midst. There's a wonderful place to find either a job for those who need a job, or thriving, successful business partnerships, or personal partnerships. We operated like this within our Russian life family for many, many years. Family is family. We want to support one another by our skills, by our strong suits. And if you choose to be a part of ALMIN International Network, you can do that regardless of whether we keep organization or not. We'll keep our groups, Telegram groups anyway. We'll stay together anyway, informally, as friends. New Age concept of charging for everything, keeping people in the long-term subscriptions, long-term commitments to their ongoing programs, living in ashrams. All these things are options, options, options. There are multiple optional expressions of conscious responsible living and growing in mastery, but I think that a network of financially independent and self-sufficient professionals with Godhood as a lifestyle is also a wonderful option. No one pays anything to anyone else. We all freely share with each other information, experience, spiritual gifts, healings. No one charges anyone else because we all have jobs, we all have businesses, and we don't need clients for our survival. And we're completely immune to codependent relationships of all kinds. Again, thank you so much in advance for understanding. No questions, comments, or suggestions of legal nature to me? No, please. I will post all contact information for legal questions, legal matters, legal complaints. For those who have legal complaints or legal questions, I or our general power of attorney holder on the behalf of myself as a chief executive officer, MUDROST ALMIN LLC in Russia, will be more than willing to cooperate. Sign everything that needs to be signed, and I promise that I will naturally terminate all business activities of MUDROST ALMIN LLC upon reception of completed documentary evidence of closure of organization presented to me by my attorney. Thank you so very much for your attention and understanding, and with infinite love to you always.